All right, well, welcome again, everyone. My name is Andrew Bottom, and I am the Associate Director for the Global Internship Program at the UCLA International Education Office. And I'll let my colleague introduce himself as well.
Hey everyone, my name is Alex Long, and I'm one of the undergraduate advisors with the Department of Political Science.
And today we're going to talk about the UCLA Global Internship Program. This is a new program for political science students this year. We've been running the program with other departments in prior years, but really excited to bring along political science. We've had some poli-sci students in the past participate through other departments that have provided this program, but excited to create a specific program for your major. Today, I'll touch on a few different things. First, study abroad and COVID-19. I know it's something on everyone's mind about just mitigating risk when going abroad. We'll talk about just the program in general, give you a program overview of the Global Internship Program, move into more specifics about the application, selection, and placement process. Then I'll talk about the 5 in-person locations that you could apply towards, as well as virtual opportunities. We'll end up on some funding options, both regarding financial aid and scholarships. And at the end, again, we'll have a Q&A session. So definitely hold on to those questions, write them down. If you have any, at the very end, you can write them into the chat, or you can unmute yourself and we'll let you ask us in person. So without further ado, I'll get started. So study abroad and COVID-19. The exciting thing is we now have students already studying abroad this fall 2021. So currently for summer 2022, we are planning to have global internship programs to run as scheduled. Obviously, COVID is something that we're continuously monitoring. We also know that things can always change rapidly. The CDC's guidance, the guidance from the US State Department. So, we will make sure that before we give the green light to any program, that we've done our due diligence to make sure that it's safe for students to go abroad, and we will make sure to keep you informed. UCLA is very sensitive to your timelines of considering no-go or go decisions. So if it does come to our attention that a program maybe would be unsafe for us to send students and we decide we must cancel that program, we'll make sure to let you know with enough time to still have the ability to change your summer plans. We also have virtual opportunities available in general for the political science program. So if you decide that you would like to do a virtual program, not go abroad, or for whatever reason your program was canceled abroad and you would rather stay home and do a virtual option later on, then you are more than welcome to do a virtual program. We just ask for your patience and flexibility, of course, because it is an ongoing situation. And the biggest thing I would want to emphasize today before we go into the presentation is that if you are interested in going abroad this summer and you need to apply for a new passport or renew your passport, which means your passport should be valid for at least 6 months past the end date of your program, you'll definitely want to do that as soon as possible. Due to COVID-19, there has been a backlog at the US State Department. So this is in reference specifically to US passport holders. And so it's taking about 4 months or so to renew or get a new passport. So if you fall within that camp, definitely encourage you to do that as soon as possible. All right, so let's go to an overview of the program in general. So the UCLA Global Internship Program occurs during the summer. It's during mid-June to mid-August. So the program starts about a week or so after graduation. It involves an 8-week in-person or virtual internship and 10 weeks of online coursework following the summer session A calendar. Students will earn between 4 to 8 academic units. It is an academic unpaid internship. And again, in-country or virtual. If you are planning to do an in-country internship, you will intern between 32 to 40 hours a week, so pretty much full-time. And if it's a virtual internship, it would be 20 to 30, so more towards part-time. For the eligibility criteria, UCLA undergraduate students, a minimum of 90 units completed by the end of spring 2022 that can count transfer AP credit within that. So you're, in a sense, going to be a third-year student at that point. And then additionally, a good academic standing and a 3.0 GPA. If you're a transfer student and you don't have a UCLA GPA currently, just make sure that you, as you continue your coursework at UCLA, maintain a 3.0 GPA in your fall and winter quarters, as well as if we do need to see your transfer transcript, we'll ask you for that. So as far as the academics are concerned, again, they follow the 10-week academic cycle for session A. You will be required to take the Political Science 195 CE internship course. This is mandatory. It's for 4 units. And the great thing is that it does fulfill 1 upper division elective course requirement for the poli-sci major. So by doing this program, you can hopefully get a major elective course out of the way, as well as getting some hands-on experience. Additionally, we offer the CSC 130 course. This is an intercultural communication in the global workplace course, specifically made for this program to help students, better understand the experiences that they're having abroad within their workplace, focusing specifically on intercultural communication theory. This is an optional course. It doesn't count towards the poli-sci major in any way, but it'll give you upper division units. And more importantly, if you are planning to apply for financial aid, you will need a minimum of 8 units. And so this course will get you to the 8-unit minimum. Students who are enrolled in 2 courses and doing an in-person internship, you will do 4 days a week of an internship so that you have 1 full day to focus on your coursework. If you are only doing 1 course, the 4 units internship course, that's it, then you will intern 5 days a week. Program registration is coming up very soon. It is next Monday. So starting October 25th through December 5th is when registration will be occurring. So very exciting that it's coming up soon. The program registration itself is not a first come, first serve registration. It is basically a selective process. So you can enroll on October 25th or December 1st, it doesn't matter. You will still be looked at and reviewed your application equally, no matter when you enroll within that enrollment period. Just note that if you do decide to register early, it may provide you an opportunity to do, and I'll talk about this a little bit more, but your in-country or your advising session with our in-country partners a little earlier in the quarter, which might work a little bit better for your schedule. And I will put the link to the registration page and everything at the very end of this session. The selection and placement process. So I'll talk about the locations next, but first let's talk about how you will apply. So you want to make sure before you apply that you have a couple documents ready. One is a current resume. So make sure that you have a resume that is formatted nicely, that's spell checked appropriately, and that it's ready to show to an employer, at that time. So be sure that you have it all figured out before you submit. There is an opportunity sometimes to resubmit your resume later on, but we like to have students have it pretty much finalized when you submit initially for the program. Additionally, when you do enroll, at the very end of the application, you will be asked a series of questions for our motivation to enroll questionnaire. These questions, as you can see, are more just about yourself personally, why you're interested in the program, why you're interested in that specific location that you're applying towards, your career goals, and what you hope to get out of the global internship experience, as well as why you think you're a great candidate. I will show you at the end, once we review the website, where these questions are located on the website so that you can review them prior to applying. Please note there's no way to save your application once you are in the application. So I suggest that you write these answers prior to applying. And just note that each of these questions is separate. So it's not like a one long essay. You will respond to each question separately. So just when you're preparing, you can prepare as such. The selection process, how it works is once you apply, I will do an initial review to make sure you submitted everything accurately, and also to make sure that you meet all the eligibility criteria. Once you pass through that check, then I will put you in touch with our in-country partners. So let's say one of our programs is in Buenos Aires, Argentina, then you will get in touch with our in-country partners there, where they will do a advising session with you. This advising session is to talk a little bit more about, what your interests are, your career goals, your experience, what you're looking to get out of the internship, to see whether you're a good match for the opportunities that are available in that location. It's also a great opportunity for you to ask our in-country partners to see, what sort of opportunities are available, to see whether they match with what you're hoping, what the experience might be like, to make sure that this is what you're looking to get out of the program. At this point, there is no financial commitment, so it doesn't hurt to obviously apply at this point and to learn more about the process. If after all of the registration period is done after December 5th, And once all the advising sessions have happened, which oftentimes go into December, usually the first week of January is when you will hear back if you have been accepted into the program. If you're accepted into the program, at that point, we will ask that you place down a $300 non-refundable deposit so that we know for sure you're planning to participate in the program that upcoming summer. Once you put the deposit down, you eventually will have to submit your final payment by mid-February or your financial aid application. So if you're paying out of pocket, then you'll pay the full program fee by middle of February. If you are planning to use financial aid to pay for the program, then you will submit a financial aid application by middle of February. And once your aid disperses in June, that's when the program fee will be paid. Once that date occurs, which is February 11th, there's a drop deadline of February 16th for a last chance to drop the program. And after that date, we will allow our program partners that are in country to start doing an additional advising session with you, and then set up interviews with you with potential companies and organizations abroad. So you will be doing, probably Zoom interviews or Skype interviews with potential site matches. Usually what happens is you aren't going to interview with 10 different companies and then decide which one you want to go with. Usually you'll get one interview. You'll see after the interview is done if you want to work there and if you think it's a good match, and if the manager thinks it's a good match. And if so, you'll sign off and you'll on your internship agreement, and that will be set. Or if it's not a good match for you or not a good match for the manager, because there could be multiple students applying to the same position, then you'll be given another opportunity to interview, and you'll keep going until you are placed. And that's kind of the process goes. The process for the placement usually occurs over a few months, and usually the placements are finalized at least 1 month in advance of you going abroad. So the exciting part is locations. So where are we planning to go this upcoming summer? So we have 5 in-person locations and 1 virtual, as mentioned. So we have Bogota and Medellin, Colombia, Buenos Aires, Argentina, Cape Town, South Africa, Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam, London, UK, and also virtual programs, which provide the opportunity to be placed really worldwide in a sense in a placement. Just note you can only apply to 1 program at a time, so you can't apply to multiple programs, so just 1 at a time. That said, if for some reason it sounds like your skill set is better for another location, maybe London has a lot more availability in a certain area that you're interested in, let's say law, then I'll let you know if I think it would be a better location, and you can make the decision whether you want to change your application destination. For each of these locations, when you're on our website, you can review some past placement opportunities that students have had. But in general, the available types of placements include advocacy groups, economics placements, government and politics placements, law, NGOs and nonprofits, social work, and think tanks. So there's a variety. It really depends kind of what you're hoping to do and get out of the experience. The Poli-Sci 185 CE course really focuses on how politics affect that specific organization that you're working with. And so it doesn't necessarily need to be, it's hard, to be honest, in an international internship to be working directly with the government, because you're coming from a different country and going in, and they're not necessarily give that sort of access. But a lot of these groups might work in advocacy work that influences policy, for instance, or influences politics, or looking with that course, looking at just how politics affects the organization or company you work with is part of the goal of the 195 CE course. One example of a student, Poli-Sci, that went last year was Shannon Courtney. She worked with Somos Capaces in Bogota, Colombia. And she mentioned, this was actually a virtual internship because we were not in person last year, but she mentioned that the first time experience interning abroad was incredibly memorable because I was able to help international actors in geopolitics and create substantial change in Colombian communities while developing my Spanish skills and Latin American historical and socioeconomic knowledge. Something to point out, like in the case of Shannon, is she was also a Spanish language learner. If you do have language skills, for instance, and you are going to Colombia, Argentina, or Vietnam, and you're able to use the local language, then that's great, and it opens even more opportunities to you. If you don't have those language skills, then even just speaking in English, it is fine, because you're guaranteed an English placement, an English speaking manager. One thing I wanted to mention to everyone, I'll put this in the chat right now, is that there is a session for the Buenos Aires program coming up, an info session. Oops, let me see if I can pull this up real quick, sorry. That you can enroll in if you want to talk to our in-country program partners. They will be there at this info session coming up on, oh, sorry guys. Let me move up here. On November 4th. So here is the link to that if you are interested in signing up and interested in the Buenos Aires program. So they'll have an insight scoop of what it's like to intern there with opportunities in Buenos Aires. All right, so program costs and funding. So we'll give you an idea of the different costs of the programs. You'll see there's a wide variety of how much a program might cost depending on the location and the cost of living there, plane tickets, meals, and food, that sort of thing. So as you'll see here, this gives an idea of Buenos Aires, Bogotá, Medellin, Cape Town, South Africa. The program fee, which you'll see posted on our website, includes your tuition, includes your housing expenses, includes the health and safety and placement fees that our partners charge us. And so that's all meshed into one fee that you would see on your Bruin bill account. The only difference in these two program fees is the different number of units. So if you have 8 units, you're paying for 4 additional units. Everything else though would be the same. The round trip airfare and meals and incidentals are really just estimates that we provide. You definitely could find a cheaper airline ticket. Let's say to Colombia might be $500, but we like to give you a little higher estimate so you can prepare accurately or in advance. Meals and incidentals, of course, depend really on your own spending habits and how much you plan to spend, on the program. I would say on the cheaper end, Colombia is definitely our most economical and affordable program if you look at overall. And then, as you'll see here, Ho Chi Minh City, London, and virtual. I guess virtuals are most economical, but as far as going abroad, you see that on the higher end is London with a higher, quite a bit higher fee for London, which is due, of course, to the high cost of living. There's also a visa that's required for both Ho Chi Minh City to go to Vietnam and to go to the UK. And so that fees are included as a part of the program fee. As far as financial aid is concerned and funding your time abroad, just note that if you do, again, enroll in both courses, 8 units, you are eligible for financial aid if you normally would receive financial aid. If you are planning to apply for financial aid, you must apply for your FAFSA or DREAM Act by the priority deadline of 2022, 2023. There's a separate financial aid global internship form that we'll talk about if you apply that you'll need to fill out, as well as a financial aid application for UCLA that comes out in about March. But that's definitely something that take into consideration. When you see these large fees, these overall fees, just note financial aid will provide you with funding for the entire amount. So including your program fee, your IEI fee, your airfare, your meals, your visa, everything, it will include everything. So the only difference between summer, I would say, and the normal academic year is there is less grant funding available just for any summer program, not just internships, but any summer program. There's no Cal grants available, which is, I know, a large grant. It's used just the university and Pell Grant that students would receive if eligible. Scholarships, and I'm going to show you our scholarship page at the end of this presentation. We do have some scholarships available. The ones that political science students would be eligible for include the Global Internship Scholarship, which provides up to $3,000 in funding for in-person programs and $1,000 for virtual. The Wang Middle Income Scholarship, which provides $2,000 in funding if you are considered what they say is a middle income student, which on our website I'll show you. You can see if you meet those criteria. And what's not pictured here, which I meant to add, is the UK scholarship. So if you're going to London, there is a scholarship for, I believe it's $2,000 as well for students who are going on a program and study abroad to London. For the Global Internship Scholarship, just note that's just for Global Internship participants. So it's a smaller applicant pool, so definitely apply. The other two, the Wang and UK, it's open to other study abroad students, but definitely something you should apply to. Something in general just to note is that scholarships are definitely under applied to through our office. So if you think you won't get it, you should definitely still apply, because we definitely don't want to, leave money on the table that could have been given to a student who really needed it. Additionally, for external scholarships, one scholarship that's really exciting for students is the Gilman Scholarship for Pell Grant eligible students, gives up to $5,000 per program for the summer. It's a national scholarship, but 25% of students who apply do get it nationwide on average. And for UCLA, we've had a much higher rate actually of students getting this scholarship. So I believe we'll be recognized soon for being one of the top universities of students receiving this scholarship in the nation for large universities. And I know last year for our virtual programs, we had something extraordinary. It was like a 70% rate of students getting that, which is probably abnormal in a normal year, but just to say you should definitely apply and not be nervous for a national scholarship. Also on our website, I'll show you in a minute, we have a diversity abroad scholarship database where you can search different other possible scholarships that you might meet the criteria of based on major identities, things like that. And before I move on, I just want to mention again that my name is Andrew, Associate Director for Global Internship Program. My email, which I'm going to put right here in the chat, is abottom@ieo.ucla.edu. Definitely reach out if you have any other questions about enrollment, registration, or the program in general. Before I invite Alex back on for questions, I just wanted to share my screen for our website. You can kind of see a little bit more of how you can navigate it. So the link for the website for the program, if you don't have it already, is here in the chat. And you can navigate the programs by clicking on political science and clicking on a particular program. Once inside the program, a couple things that you can do. You can look at the documents to prepare for your application right here, which includes the questions that you'll need to prepare in advance of applying. You also can look at the budgets here that are already located and the curriculum as well. In the on location and travel, we'll talk more about visas. We'll talk also about on location what your accommodations will be like, whether you get airport pickup or not upon arrival, things that we'll definitely talk about more in depth once you get involved in the program. And then for financial aid and for scholarships, you have the finances tab on the top. And if you go over to scholarships specifically, and then scroll down to global internships, I'm gonna add this as well to the chat. You'll see the different scholarships that you could apply to. So Global Internship Scholarship, the Shirley and Walter Wang, and the UK are definitely ones you could look at. The Center for Community Engagement Internship Award may be back this year, and it may be something that you could apply to as well. I'm not quite sure if we'll be back or not, but if it is, I will definitely update you on the website that it's available for poli-sci students as well. So here is the link to scholarship page. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull up presentation one more time, and I'm going to stop the recording, and then we'll go into questions.